Hello and welcome to another episode of Enter the Nerdosphere, the podcast that brings you all of the latest news and rumors from inside their Nerdosphere, from the silver screen to the small screen, and anything and everything in between. I am one of your hosts, Clayton Presson, joined as always and forever by my brother, Corbin Presson.
Hello.
Hello, my brother. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing fine, my brother. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing fine, my brother. How are you doing this evening?
Well, brother, I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. I opened this morning, so I'm a little tired, but that's okay. Comes with the territory. You came up today, in case you didn't know. I know you didn't know.
I didn't know. Enlighten me.
In case you didn't know,
what happened
I know
today.
you don't know. But in case you didn't know,
What happened today?
today you came up.
What?
And then, yeah, we got some late lunch together, and then we went Pokemoning, caught some Mons. Yeah, went to an Abernest that wasn't an Abernest. It was really far away.
It's all coming back to me now.
That was frustrating. What else did we do?
The Rhyhorn nest was
With the
also
Rhyhorn nest?
not a nest.
And that also wasn't a nest. That was such a
We
great
basically
waste.
wasted our entire time.
But I got a Rapidash when it was all said and done, so
I got
that
enough
was
to
cool.
get a Rapidash, but I'm waiting.
I was content with mine. My Ponyta had an IV of 72. So I was okay with just evolving it.
Yeah. Mine's not... I think mine's a C. I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but...
Probably in the 70s if I were guessing.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
But its CP is 891, so I know it's going to turn out to be a high-level Rapidash, so until I find something better.
We went shopping and stocked up on some blueberry supplies for that hugely talked about. It's been exploding all over YouTube. Everyone wants to see this blueberry vlog that we have been talking about for the past 2 weeks. And I'm like, all right, folks, popular demand. It's coming. Don't you worry. That's what she said. So,
Yeah.
it's coming. That's what she said.
Yeah, we got a couple... Should I show them?
Of what's to come?
No, just the things.
I mean, there's bags over there of stuff for me to eat. That's the sound of the bags of the food that I'm gonna eat. But it's gonna be a nice little ordeal. I'm gonna dress up for you guys, and it's gonna be like a little,
A nice little tasting. Something different. Something witty. Something clever. Something amusing.
That's always the goal. I almost made a sexual joke that was insulting myself, so I opted not to do that.
Oh.
I was gonna be like, unlike in the bedroom, I won't fall short. But that's not true.
Or is it? We'll never know.
You'll never know.
Well, if you had it your way.
I may or may not have sent a text intended for my wife to my brother this morning. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
And then, well, it didn't end there because when we met up this afternoon to eat lunch and go Pokemon Going, you had to bring it up and make it even more awkward instead of just letting it go.
You can't let that stuff lie. You gotta address it and face it head on. Like
I would
don't know.
imagine that the text saying, "Oops, that's for my wife," and then my two emojis of a embarrassed face and then the straight line face is enough.
All I said was, so this is what it looks like. So this is what it's like to look at my brother after, and then I said what the text said.
Oh, goodness.
But how was your day?
My day was fine. If you didn't know, I went up to St. Louis to visit you today.
No.
Yes, I did. We had a late lunch. We went Pokemoning, caught some mons.
Nice. Did you find any good nests?
Well, we went to an Avernest, and it turned out to not be a very good
Don't
nest.
you hate when that happens?
Yeah, and it was super far away. It was out in Wildwood.
Dang, like past 109.
Rockwood Recreational Park or something like that. And then we came back. Actually, first, before that, we went to a Rhyhorn nest that also turned out to not be a nest. For some reason, I feel like this is deja vu right now.
I don't think so. If anything, someone just reset the Matrix and we're going about our lives right now.
Or the Atlas is forcing us to do things.
La 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 la. I haven't finished the Atlas mission. For those who are listening, that's a No Man's Sky reference, and I'm not done with that part of the game, so shush your face.
Let's just say me and the priest don't get along very well right now.
I mean, he and I are starting to butt heads a little bit. He's starting to not trust me. He suspects that the Atlas is some sort of... If it's not a program, it's involved in some sort of simulation that the priest believes that we are in, and he thinks that I am a part.
You know what I just realized? That's like super meta and self-aware.
Mm-hmm. You didn't realize that's what that was talking about? The
No.
fact that you were playing a game?
No, I was just so immersed in the world. I was like, what's going to happen? But now that I have taken a step back and I hear you talk about it, it's become so clear.
Yes.
Anyway.
Ladies
and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is Enter the Nerdosphere.
Dare I say, the internet's #1 podcast for news and rumors. In the Nerdosphere.
Okay.
Heard it here first.
We are Enter the Nerdosphere's flagship podcast. We bring you every week's best news and rumors regarding movies, films, anything that the nerds like.
I'm glad that you said the best, because I'm going to get real honest with you folks real quick. For those of you who really listen to us for the news and rumors, things are going to get dry here pretty quick. The comic book world and film world towards the end of summer really dies down and gets really dry, because the next wave of movies don't come out till November, and even then it's like one or two, and then you got like one in December, and then it's nothing till February, and then nothing till May. So it's gonna get
It'll actually give
stale.
us... I'm actually kind of excited because it'll give us an opportunity to expand into some other mediums, because while this podcast was launched on the idea of film and TV as the forefront, we have since rebranded and started expanding into all realms of the Nerdosphere. So,
Sure.
Books, actual comics, games.
Yeah,
So now maybe we can throw in a few of those tidbits as well.
that's true.
So,
But I would dare say,
as far as the actual movies and TV, though, yes, there probably will be a little bit less.
Yeah.
But we'll supplement it with other good stuff.
like
So,
this wonderful chit chat that you are so amused by, I guarantee it.
let me suck on this chocolate malt.
Moving right along.
Yeah, sure. Let's open up to the interwebs. Grab all the grains of salt. It's news and rumors.
The cover of Brian Michael Bendis' relaunched Invincible Iron Man #1 reveals that the young hero will officially be known as Ironheart. During an interview with Wired, Bendis explains that it was actually Marvel Chief Creative Officer Joe Quesada that came up with the new moniker. Quote is saying, "Iron Woman seemed old-fashioned to some, Iron Maiden looked like a legal nightmare, and Ironheart coined by Joe Quesada. After I told him my planned story for Riri," that's Riri her name,
O'Reary.
Oh, weary. Speaks not only to the soul of the character, but to the Iron Man franchise as a whole. Tony first put on the armor to save his heart. Riri puts it on for different reasons altogether. But Steer, different reasons altogether. But still heart-related. When people see her story, you'll be amazed at how simple and brilliant Joe's suggestion was. Turns out Tony Stark will still be a part of the series, however, as Riri's armor AI will be based on his personality, regardless of where he might be physically, said Marvel Senior VP of Publishing Tom Brevoort. He'll be soaring along her spiritually.
So they're basically taking that aspect from the movies.
Yes, but also here's the thing. If you're going to give her her own series and her own identity outside of Iron Man, why have the comic series be called Invincible Iron Man? It's starting back at number 1. Just give her own series called Ironheart.
They probably worry about sales.
And they're not. So they worry more about the icon and not the character. And again, we always come back to gimmick, right? The fact that the fact that she's an African-American woman does not bother me. What bothers me is it's Brian Michael Bendis, and I know his agenda, and I know it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are piggybanking off of the name brand of Iron Man instead of just saying we believe in this new character and what she represents and just giving her her own flagship.
And you could even make even a bigger statement by saying she is this universe's Iron Man now. Iron Man is no more, so we're ending his comic book. And instead of starting over at number 1, bring out her own comic.
Yes.
That would show, at least to me, that they really are standing behind this new character.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just a gimmick.
Not only is it a gimmick, but it tells me that it's probably going to last maybe a year.
Right.
And Tony Stark is going to put the armor back on. She's going to fall into the background. It's just going to go back to the way it was.
Yep.
Because these kind of changes...
which will prove even more that it was just a gimmick.
Right.
Which Marvel Comics today, it is gimmick city, man. If it's not a giant overarching story after giant overarching story, it is gimmick after gimmick.
Yep.
And they are trying so hard to just get sales that they've lost the character depth and story depth that not only made their comics great originally, but have allowed the MCU to succeed.
Right.
If the MCU started making movies based on current storylines, the MCU would be no more.
That's exactly right.
So, they need to get Bendis out.
I agree.
I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
I do too.
I hate him.
The Hollywood Reporter has now confirmed that Michael Pena will be reprising his role as Luis in the sequel for Ant-Man and the Wasp. The publication has also seemingly confirmed that the film will begin shooting next year. Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly are set to return as the 2 title characters, while Michael Douglas is expected to reprise the role of Hank Pym. Peyton Reed will return to direct, with a script from Reed, Rudd, Adam McKay, Andrew Breyer, and Gabriel Ferrari.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's a little tidbit. I think the breaking part of that article wasn't necessarily that Michael Pena that was returning. It was that we finally got word of when they were going to start filming, which is next year, which is cool.
I was fine with him being in the character, or I was fine with his character being in the movie.
I'm excited to see what they do with this movie now that there's not going to be the drama. Like I was satisfied with the final product that was Ant-Man, but you could tell that it didn't get the love it necessarily deserved because it did feel a little bit lesser than the other films that were coming out at that time, especially to close out Phase 2. Seemed like a afterthought.
Well, it was kind of always odd to me that they chose that as this is actually still in Phase 2.
Right, like why not just make that part of Phase 3?
Yeah. So, but like you said, they now have full focus with the new team that is committed to it. So,
And a lot of things that Peyton Reed brought to the table were the things like that micro photography and stuff that really made The Shrinking really unique. So I'm excited to see what he brings as like having full reign. Because you have to also think of his perspective, right? To take on a script that was already finished, that was going through some rewrites by Paul Rudd and stuff, and Adam McKay. But he basically was brought on to just facilitate the role of the director. Like there wasn't a lot of changes or personal pizzazz he could have put on it. So this next movie is really going to be...
Yeah, he definitely kind of had like the old world role of director. Like that's all he was there to do.
Right.
To direct the film.
Right.
So now he's going to have some creative control along with Rudd.
Right. Especially because a little fun fact is that movie, the set photos actually saw Kevin Feige on set a lot. So Marvel was really just trying to get that movie just going. So Kevin was really involved in making sure things were just moving along, which he doesn't usually do with the other films necessarily that capacity.
He didn't most of the time doesn't have to. Right. All the drama behind Ant-Man, he was probably like, need to give you some attention to make sure this doesn't fall apart.
Right. So again, like I'm excited to see what Peyton does now that it's like his movie.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
So, and I respect him for wanting to stay with Marvel and taking up that responsibility because it's got to be awkward to take on an Edgar Wright film and say it's yours.
Definitely.
So, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. originally debuted at an 8 p.m. time slot in its first season, Clayton, and will now be airing at 10 p.m. this fall on a Friday night.
Cancel it. Why even do that to a show? Just cancel it. You're not going to grow.
Hang on.
The audience is not going to grow. The audience is not going to grow.
You didn't turn the air off.
No. I'll go turn it off.
My gosh, you have two things.
It's been so cool outside. I didn't think it would turn on.
You have two things to do. Turn the fan off and turn the air off. You turned the fan off, but you didn't turn the air off. Everyone is now hearing the buzz of the air. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. You just hold what you're saying because what Jeff Loeb is about to say is hilarious, okay? So the show's now going to be on 10 p.m. on Fridays this fall. According to head Marvel Television, Jeff Loeb, this shift will allow for S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't interrupt. Let me finish all of this. According to Jeff Loeb, this shift will allow for S.H.I.E.L.D. to explore some of the darker areas that are so readily afforded to shows like Daredevil. He's quoted as saying, by going to 10 o'clock, we're going to be taking on just a little bit more edge, a little bit more grit. Jeff Loeb said in a video interview, the show is pretty violent for something at 9 o'clock, but when we get to the 10 o'clock, we're going to be just a little hair of something that I think people are going to really enjoy.
What? It's still on network television.
So he's saying the 10 o'clock slot is a gift because they can be darker and grittier and more violent.
Can't. They are still bound by the same rules and regulations as all of the other primetime network television shows. You can't do anything more. What are you talking about? That is a slot where a Friday night slot is where a show goes to die. Yeah. And the 10 p.m. slot is like the grave is already dug and the network is starting to fill it in.
And the gravestone says, "Here lies Phil Coulson. He should have died in the Avengers." Marvel has found continued success in its Netflix shows, which received massive critical acclaim in comparison to S.H.I.E.L.D. Despite this, Loeb maintains that Marvel's first television show remains his favorite to work on. He's quoted as saying, "People ask me all the time, what's my favorite show of all the shows that we do? I really do have a very special place for S.H.I.E.L.D. Without S.H.I.E.L.D., nothing else happens. We had to prove to the world that Marvel Television could make a television series and that we could compete in this incredibly competitive atmosphere. Yes, we had an incredible gift that Clark Gregg came from features and reprised his role as Phil Coulson. But all those brand new characters, all those people that executive producers Jed Whedon and Marissa Tikrion and Jeff Bell worked with every single time, the fans out there who so embraced our entire cast, all that makes a huge difference.
That's a load of BS.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna see when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was announced and when Daredevil was announced.
Why?
Because that's BS.
What do you mean?
That Daredevil basically exists because of S.H.I.E.L.D.? That they had to prove themselves with S.H.I.E.L.D. before they could make Daredevil? No.
I mean, Daredevil came out after like 2 seasons of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I know, but we knew about that for a long time. That's what I'm saying. We knew Daredevil was coming for a long time.
Did we?
Yes.
I don't know. Do you want me to keep moving on?
Yeah.
According to The Hollywood Reporter, Suicide Squad will stay at number 1 after grossing $6 million this past weekend. And despite yet another fairly significant drop, a haul of $20 million over the weekend will be more than enough to make sure it's one of just a handful of 2016 releases to stay at the top spot for 3 consecutive weeks this year. As a result, it should end up with a domestic haul of $261 million, a number which you have to believe Warner Brothers is very happy with after the negative reviews. Although it is pretty easy to stay number 1 3 weeks in a row when nothing is coming out and one of your top competitors is a Ben-Hur remake.
Which did terrible.
Which I'm going to get to in this, don't worry.
It did terrible.
It's a part of the news and rumors. It's epic flop. The Russo brothers are being asked again. This is the 3rd time in our series of podcasts that I have brought up the Russo brothers being interviewed about the title change of Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 no longer being called Part 1 and Part 2. Are people flipping stupid? This was addressed months ago. I would almost say a year. Not a year because we haven't been podcasting for a year. But months.
It has been months.
The Russo brothers are quoted as...
Here we go. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. first came out in September of 2013. Guess when Daredevil started early production and talks and actually hired Charlie Cox and Goddard?
Who? When?
2013.
Dang.
Fall. So guess what, Jeff Loeb? It was all happening at the same time. Do not put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on a pedestal.
True.
Continue, sorry.
The Russo brothers are quoted as saying, "We wanted the movie to be very different and distinctive, you know. There's certainly cross-pollination between characters and some story arcs, but you know, the first movie is very clearly Avengers Infinity War, and in time, we will reveal what the second film is. As for when exactly we're going to learn the title Avengers for, Anthony added, you'll learn that, but not for quite some time." Why do I have to keep repeating myself? That the only reason why they changed the title from Part 1 and Part 2 is so that it does not get confused with the very current trend of Hollywood movies that are based on books, that they take one story and cut it in half with a to be continued. That was never the intention for these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just took it off to avoid the confusion, but apparently taking it off has created more confusion because no one seems to remember that they said that originally because they keep bringing it up.
Yeah, it's good news. Plus people are idiots.
They're so dumb. With Flashpoint, in Flash Season 3, Dr. Alchemy...
Not you people, by the
No.
way.
No, yes.
Just in general.
Right.
Movie media people.
Exactly. Unless someone listening is one of the interviewers asking the Russo brothers this.
Then you're an idiot.
You're an idiot. Hit the thumbs down button. I don't care. So with Flash Season 3 and Flashpoint, Dr. Alchemy and Savitar, who's the nude speedster, all set to take center stage during the Flash's 3rd season.
Savitar?
Mm-hmm.
Is he a real guy?
Yeah, he's a real guy. He's like a speed god.
Never heard of him. I'll have to Google him.
Will there be room for the Black Flash? Based on comments From executive producer Andrew Kreisberg, it definitely sounds like the door is open for the villain to return at some point this year. Obviously, we did that on purpose, he said of Zoom's surprise transformation. We love working with Teddy Sears. He's such an amazing actor and amazing person, and was so much a part of the success of this show's last season. There aren't any immediate plans for that, but you can't keep a good Black Flash down, so I'm sure we'll be seeing him in the future. Which I assumed was going to happen. You don't make Zoom the Black Flash and then not bring him back.
If he doesn't come back this season, they set it up for a future story. So,
which I'm okay with because he now exists outside of time because he was created by the Time Wraiths.
Yeah.
So, Vin Diesel took to his Facebook during a live Facebook video and was quoted as saying, "Surprise. The Guardians will be included in Avengers Infinity War, and that's incredibly exciting, and something that if you were a part of our page, you knew before everybody." I don't know if he's going to get in trouble for this, because I really don't think anyone was supposed to know about this, nor do I think anyone is surprised by it. And if you are, you're one of those idiots.
I giggled.
So yeah. I don't think there was ever a doubt in our minds that the Guardians would not be in Avengers Infinity War. I think we all knew that was going to happen.
I think the assumption was they would be involved with at least one of them.
Exactly. Because
they've been majorly involved with one of the stones, so why wouldn't they be involved with?
Right. And they've been very, very vocal about Infinity War being not only a culmination of everything that the MCU has set up, but it's going to bring everyone in.
Yeah. Why
would everyone be brought in and not the Guardians? Because at that point, it would just be everyone we saw in Civil War.
Right.
Plus Doctor Strange.
And Captain Marvel, depending on which one we're talking about.
Right. So, next. The Wrap reckons they've uncovered the actual identity that, I don't know how to say her name, Zendaya, the lead actress in Spider-Man Homecoming, the Disney actress. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know it begins with a Z. I couldn't tell you.
She's supposed to be playing a role called Michelle.
Oh.
Well, apparently the Wrap says they've uncovered that she is actually playing Mary J. Watson.
Okay.
Apparently they verified it through a couple of different sources, but we've yet to get confirmation from the studio. I don't know, the internet's exploding about it, and my 2 cents on it is until Marvel says something, I don't buy anything. There is a Latino-esque type character named Michelle that was a love interest of Peter Parker, and it was very minor. And the way I kind of saw it, and at the time a lot of people on the internet were seeing it, was they're just to get away from Gwen and MJ for a little bit. They're just going to go with another love interest just to clear the air.
It's an early high school type movie.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm okay with him having like a different crush and then like really hitting hard with a serious love interest, whether it be Gwen or Mary Jane in the next one.
One of the things that's not jiving quite well with some people is some people were able to see the footage at Comic-Con. Apparently the footage of her is she's an ass to Peter, which MJ never was in the comics.
Yeah, she was always nice to him.
So some people are getting up in arms about it because they're like, it's not true to the character, which when has Marvel never been true to the character? Which is why I'd say, if that's how she is in the movie,
it's probably not Mary Jane.
It's probably not Mary Jane. Just let's let it go. There's a whole lot about this movie that we don't know, and I don't think we're gonna know
until we go see it.
I think Marvel's gonna stay as hush on this as possible.
I agree.
Jared Leto has joined the Blade Runner sequel.
I saw that. Good for him. Is that one artsy enough for him? Because apparently the Joker was not.
It's not that the Joker wasn't artsy enough.
It's that it was promised to be artsy and then it didn't end up being artsy.
We're going to move on from this. Hulu announced that they would no longer support free streaming service and would be opting for a 100% paid subscription model akin to their main competitor, Netflix.
I actually had completely forgot that they had a free option.
Yeah.
Because even they still have a free option.
Yeah.
Because even with the $8 a month, you're still like watching commercials. And didn't that used to be like the gimmick? Like you had to watch commercials, but it was free.
Yeah.
Or you could upgrade. You can upgrade now to a $11 or $12 a month and have no commercials, which is like, no, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, their selection is not superb.
No.
Now they're taking another page from the Netflix playbook and partnering with Marvel TV for a live-action Runaway series that will be based on the run from Brian K. Vaughan and Adrian Alphona. Gossip Girl creators Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage are spearheading the development. Deadline describes the series as a story of 6 diverse teenagers who can barely stand each other, but who must unite against a common foe, their parents. Schwartz stated, "I'm a longtime fan of Runaways and couldn't be more excited to bring Brian and Adrian's characters to life," Savage added. "Josh and I can't wait to get to work for Marvel and Hulu." Head of Marvel TV Jeff Loeb also weighs in, "We've known the Runaways story would make great television, and being lucky enough to have Josh and Stephanie, who have time and time again created shows that speak so genuinely to this exact audience, write and produce the series is nothing short of remarkable." A couple things. I'm excited and intrigued by the projects. I like the Runaway characters. It's interesting that they're doing it with Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it's going to start. I'm wondering if them spreading their stuff across all these competing platforms is ever going to get dicey as far as creating the cohesive universe.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you want to keep things in the same basket. You don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. And you want there to be, I don't know, like a...
That's my thoughts exactly. How can you now say the Runaways are part of the MCU? Because unless they make a cameo in a movie, you're not going to see them anywhere else. You're not.
You're not going to see him in New York next to Daredevil or anything.
No. Because, like you said, it will not happen. They will not be able to commingle with with all of them being at Netflix and then them being at Hulu.
Right.
Plus, I canceled my Hulu subscription because there's not enough on there to justify $8 a month. And I'm not going to renew it to watch this show. So no matter how good it is, I'm going to miss out on it. Because I'm not going to pay $8 a month for one show.
Right.
So I really think Marvel, they got a good deal going with Netflix. And I really think that they should have put this over there.
I agree, especially when you look at the Hulu original content is not that great.
No,
it's not.
The Path with the remind me his name if you can, the kid from Breaking Bad, not Walter White.
Aaron.
Yes.
Yeah.
That show's actually really good.
Well, I guess there's also the one with James Franco. 11. Was it
11/23/63? 11.
Something like that.
The one about where he goes back in time
The
to
Stephen
stop,
King novel.
Yeah, to stop the JFK assassination. That one was also really good. But it depends on who's doing it. Because whereas Netflix, I think, at least to some capacity, is involved with quality control and development, I don't think, at least from what we've seen come out of Hulu, I don't think that's the case at Hulu. I think they're just kind of like the traditional network television model where they just put it out there.
Right.
So like you can have a hit or miss something, whereas all of Netflix's stuff is very, very good. And they make sure it is. So, I don't know.
I'll also say that like I said, I enjoy these characters, but my exposure to them is not actually of their own series. So after the original Civil War comic book took place, at that point in time, the Young Avengers comic, which I really enjoyed, had kind of gone on this like weird sort of hiatus, and it came back as a joint series, and it was the Young Avengers and Runaways, and that's how I got introduced to those characters. And it was about those two teams on the run after the Registration Act. And that's when I fell in love with those characters. So I can't really speak to their individual series and whether or not that was good or not. I just know that whenever it was the joint series, it was a lot of fun to read. But I did like them. All of their parents are like super villains, basically. So I don't know. I'm just sad to see it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about what it's gonna mean for the future.
Yeah, because we could always kind of defend the Netflix series and say it is MCU.
Because
It is MCU.
Because Disney has had ongoing contracts with Netflix with all of their animated movies and Marvel movies and stuff. So they have this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's on ABC is Disney. So everything Netflix is not in-house, but it's close to home. It's in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hulu seems like it's
way out there.
Outside the city limits. It just seems weird.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, maybe it's just meant to be a standalone thing.
Maybe.
Like a cartoon.
Maybe. A leaked call sheet reveals that the Shocker will be in Spider-Man Homecoming. A villain that has been a top fan pick for many years. A lot of people are theorizing he'll probably just be a very minor villain in the beginning of the movie. You and I discussed that something that they need to do that other Spider-Man movies fail to do is show Peter taking on a lower tier villain in a nonchalant way to show that he's not just doing street crime and then like this extreme super villain.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be an in-between road to show that he's...
And Shocker is that man.
Exactly.
Shocker's like a fan favorite villain, who is not like always a big bad unless he's involved with like the Sinister Six or something. Like,
right.
He by himself is a street level super villain.
Exactly.
So that's the perfect villain to kind of show that Spider-Man deals with a lot.
Yeah. And his costume looks cool, and his like tech is pretty cool in the comics, at least.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they stay pretty close to the source material.
If they do similar things that they did the Spider-Man suit, it's gonna look good.
I agree. Due to creative differences, NBC's Powerless has lost its showrunner. Production was set to start in just a few short weeks, but now has been delayed. The pilot did receive a warm reception at Comic-Con, but come on. You could show anyone anything at Comic-Con, and they're so high on the hype of everything, they'll be like, whoa! There's no way that anyone actually walked away being like, Powerless looks like
Remember
the
how
next
excited
awesome
everyone
comedy.
was for BVS 3 years ago when it was first announced?
Oh, man. Terrible. Also, we don't need this kind of show. This kind of filth is the stuff that's going to
saturate the market
and poison it. This is toxic.
Yes.
It's just filth. It's not quality, and it's damaging to the property.
I agree. It's kind of like I'm worried that superhero stuff will go the way of the Western eventually. Like it'll see several years, if not decades, of gold tier success, money making, but it'll reach a point where it will be so oversaturating the market that it will break.
Yep.
And we're starting to reach that point with shows like this.
I agree.
So
we don't need it. I don't. You heard it here, folks. It will not last more than a season.
Powerless? No.
Although
I would have said the same thing about Gotham, and it's still on.
True.
Or Legends of Tomorrow. A show that you'll like if you watch it based on concept.
The concept of the show is good. I'm not getting into this. Adam West returns to the cowl in a new Batman animated feature, along with the returning cast, like Burt Ward and Catwoman. Batman Return of the Cape Crusader will be available digital HD on October 11th and Blu-ray November 1st. If you have not watched the trailer, please go watch it because it is the TV show and cartoon form.
Now this is a prime example of how to use a superhero property. The old 60s Batman, especially the movie, is just like the bee's knees. And the fact that they're bringing it back while Adam West is still around. Because Adam West has made a name for himself just being Adam West. And I cannot wait for this movie to come out.
I love even the show so much more now that I'm older. Because being a little kid watching it, I didn't understand that
The humor.
I didn't understand that
Yeah.
it was aware of
I
itself
agree.
and it was a
Yeah.
comedy. I just thought it was like, I don't know, the stupid campy show that like, I don't know. But now that I'm older, I'm like, oh no, like they totally understood what they were and how ridiculous it was.
Right.
Like it was a comedy and it was a genius level comedy.
Yeah.
It was so well done. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Shark repellent.
When he's on the ladder.
That's on Netflix,
When he's
yeah.
on the ladder and he's punching the shark. It's the inflatable shark that's on his leg.
It's on Netflix, so if you have not watched it,
To me, that's
please
the best.
watch
That's
it.
the best Batman movie.
It is the best Batman.
Say all you
movie.
want, but The Dark Knight is the best. No, Batman the movie, 100%.
It's so funny.
I still say to this day, as far as all the Batmans are concerned, that is the most comic book accurate Batman.
Well, that's true.
Because everything else has just been like this like interpretation, but his is like straight from the '60s
Straight
comic.
from the '60s comic.
Just gotta believe in the characters and the source material.
And get rid of those bombs.
Natalie Portman confirms that she will not be in Thor Ragnarok. This was an interview after we learned that the Warriors 3 are actually in the movie. We don't know anything about the Lady Sif yet, but the Warriors 3 are going to be in it. We also got some behind-the-scene photos that there are shooting scenes in New York. So our hero and Loki are both going to be Midgard bound momentarily. What are they going to be doing in New York? I'm not quite sure. But I'm actually kind of happy that Natalie Portman's not going to be in it. I think it's...
The story requires not her.
I agree. I agree.
That was worded perfectly.
Yes.
But it's a very intense story. It is about, I mean, Ragnarok is Asgard's apocalypse. It is the end of their world and their way of life. There's no time in this movie for the love story with Natalie Portman and its cutesy little... I mean, I liked it, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it does not have a place in this story.
I agree.
There won't be time for it.
No.
Especially when you're interjecting the Hulk and Planet Hulk aspects.
And having his like subplot and stuff.
Yeah, there's just won't be time.
I agree. PlayStation Plus subscription will be rising $10 next month.
From 50 to 60. Now, what is interesting, though, you can purchase multiple things at once. I know this from experience because I did it by accident. Had to get a refund. But subscriptions do stack. So if you're really worried about it, or you want to save $10 for next year and the next year, and you want to buy a couple, you have until next month to buy
A few more.
either a year, like let's say I got 6 months left, go ahead and buy another year. You save $10 and you'll be good for a year and a half. Or if you want to buy 3 years and save $30, like, I mean, it stacks. So
True.
while it's disappointing, I really think that because PlayStation kind of cited market standings or market needs or something, it would be nice if we see some better games come to the PlayStation Plus,
Sure.
because it's kind of been lacking lately as far as...
I've actually stopped paying attention.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I say that, but every month I go in and I add it to my library. But I haven't played one in probably a year.
Yeah.
So,
Give me more stuff like Journey.
yeah,
Journey-
exactly.
I have a very special place in my heart for Journey. It made me feel a lot of things.
Or like, why has Knack not been a PlayStation Plus game yet?
That's true.
Something like that. Or even Killzone.
Especially since they're making, unbelievably, they're making a sequel to Knack.
Yeah.
Like, if
But
anything, get the word out. And give it to us for free. So
None of the launch games have been PlayStation Plus, and that used to kind of be a thing. Like when especially an exclusive, when it got so old
Right.
or reached a certain price point, you could probably expect it to pop up on PlayStation Plus at some point.
Right.
And that's not been the case since PlayStation 4 came out.
Right.
So maybe with this $10 hike, they'll have enough a little bit extra revenue coming in, and they can kind of look at some better titles for our free titles.
Maybe.
We'll see. Or maybe they're going to take that extra money and put it into developing a better PSN, because PSN is pretty trash.
And let us change our PSN names.
Shuhei.
If you're listening.
As channeling our Colin and Greg hardcore right there.
Eurogamer supposedly has all but confirmed the PS4 Slim that was advertised on Gumtree was indeed real, and claims that their sources say it'll be released shortly after the Sony September 7 event.
That doesn't surprise me, because
No, not at all. I mean,
they've done it with all of their other consoles. We know that this event is to reveal the Neo, and most likely the release date will be this year so that it can capitalize on VR.
Right.
So, and that's going to be how you sell them both side by side. How do you sell a Neo and how do you sell a PS4 next to each other? Cuz why would you buy a PS4 when there's a better insides PS4 sitting right next to it?
Right.
You have a PS4 Slim with a slashed price point, most likely. And then you have your PS4 Neo, which will be priced to be determined. But
yeah,
doesn't surprise me. Kind of expected it.
Agreed. So next up is the that big Ben-Hur. IGN brings us this article. Ben-Hur is a big, expensive box office flop. Ben-Hur had an underwhelming debut at the North American box office, earning just $11.4 million during its opening weekend. The adaptation...
$11.4 million? What was its budget?
I think I'll get to that in a sec.
Oh, okay.
The adaptation that was based on the classic novel boasted a production budget of close to $100 million. As such, Ben-Hur will prove to be a costly endeavor for MGM and Paramount Pictures. As noted by The Hollywood Reporter, the film, which placed 5th at the domestic box office, made $10.7 million internationally, bringing its current global total to $22 million. Paramount Vice Chairman Rob Moore spoke to the film's performance, saying, "This has definitely been a rough summer for remakes and sequels."
Yeah, no wonder.
Yeah. So it came in 5th. So first this weekend was Suicide Squad with $20.7 million. Sausage Party came in 2nd with $15.3. 3rd was War Dogs, which was $14.3. 4th was Kubo and the Two Strings, $12.6. And then Ben-Hur at $11.4.
This just goes to show that there is no market, not really, for remakes. Some succeed, most do not. Can we just stop?
I agree.
Can we stop? Especially things like...
The Rocketeer, leave the Rocketeer alone.
I'm okay with the Rocketeer because it's not really a remake. It's a sequel / soft reboot. So let's wait and see where that goes. I'm okay with something like that. However, Ghostbusters should have been left alone or given the sequel soft reboot type treatment, which we talked about many times. Ben-Hur, come on. It is a classic movie. Leave it alone. Especially, they try to make it this huge, epic summer blockbuster. Stop. That's not what that's supposed to be.
It was ever going to be that. No one wants it to be that.
And let's be honest, it wasn't marketed.
It really wasn't.
The only time I ever even saw the trailer was when we went to go see. What did we go see? What's the last thing we went to go see together?
What did we see together?
It's been several weeks.
Star Trek?
Yes. There was a preview for it in front of Star Trek, and that's the only time I had ever even seen it anywhere.
Anywhere?
I didn't even...
Anywhere?
I didn't even know it existed, and I'm pretty plugged in.
I agree. So Final Fantasy 15 has been delayed. Again. Haha.
Keep in mind, this game has been in development for like 10 years.
Yes, so Final Fantasy 15's 2-month delay to November this week. may have been a disappointment to some fans, but Square Enix is confident it will make for a better experience once the game is available worldwide. Speaking to IGN at Gamescom, Final Fantasy 15 director Hajime Tabata explained that a hefty day one patch was originally in store for the game, but ultimately he didn't want fans who play offline to be unable to experience the game at its best. Instead, he wanted the game to be in its most polished state as soon as players put in the disc. He's quoted saying, "Originally, I was thinking it would be okay, and we could put all the extra updates into a day one patch. But at that point, I learned there are maybe a lot of people out there who play it in an offline environment and don't have internet. When I found that out, thinking about it again, I'm glad I didn't make that decision." Once he knew he wanted to avoid that patch, Tabata says he estimated that 2 months would be enough to put the content on the disc and allow the extra time to make the visuals as complete as possible. It would take about 1 month exactly to fit everything we wanted in the day one patch into the disc version, and with that, pretty much all the technical issues would be sorted out. And then we thought that after we got the technical base down and there were no problems there, it's 1 more month to polish everything up and get it really great, and that's why it was 2 months. Okay.
It just wasn't ready. That's
I'll
all it is.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I bet money that when it does come out, there's still going to be a day one patch. That's just inevitable these days.
It's true.
So, it just wasn't ready.
This next bit of news is really exciting. Original Yu-Gi-Oh! Voice actors Dan Green and Eric Stewart are returning for an upcoming animated film, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions.
Yay.
According to 4K's media announcement, Green is back to voice Yu-Gi-Moto, and Stewart will reprise his role as Seto Kaiba for the English-dubbed North American release. To go along with the news, the first trailer for dubbed version of the trailer was revealed, which you can check out below on IGN.com. We are thrilled to be working once again with Dan and Eric on this current Yu-Gi-Oh! Production, producer Shane Winigo said in a statement. They both bring such energy and passion, not to mention a strong history to these roles. It is fun to have them in the studio once again. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of the Dimension tells a brand new story crafted by the series creator Kazuki Tagashi. The film debuted in Japan on April 23rd and is slated to release in North America sometime early next year. This will also mark the 20th anniversary of Konami's beloved anime franchise and celebrate the three new Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, which will be available at the end of 2016. This is very exciting.
Yes.
The trailer is awesome.
Yes.
And they also keep trying to find a way to make Blue Eyes White Dragon a relevant monster, and that's just never going to happen.
No, because it's terrible. Well, Dark Magician is even worse.
That's true.
Less attack, same stars, or 1 less star. Still takes 2 sacrifices to bring out.
This next thing I really actually don't want to read too much into because it's not even like... The Russo brothers were interviewed asking about how Infinity War and its sequel mark the end and new beginning for the MCU. I mean, you and I can speculate already, but we already knew that.
Yeah.
The Infinity War is
It's the culmination of all these phases thus far. It will end with fighting Thanos and defeating his ultimate plan, and then going from there, it will be a new beginning because guess what?
New characters.
The story is over, so we have to start a new one.
So there we go. No reason to read that quote. And to end on something really interesting and fun, Disney has filed a patent to allow the company to use drone technology to beam lasers through foggy environments towards someone wielding a custom lightsaber. This is Disney filing a patent for real-world lightsaber battle tech. According to Patent Yogi, the Star Wars-like interaction is achieved by filling an area with vapor, then arming a person with a specially designed lightsaber that's capable of transmitting IR light towards the laser shooting drones. The IR rays are transmitted from the saber to the drone. Then an IR sensor built into the drone creates a field of view based from where the person is standing, allowing it to presumably open laser fire. The patent filing has similarities with laser tag, whereby players shoot one another in a water vapor-filled room. The vapor basically lets the laser beam become visible to the naked eye. As you may know, Disney is creating 2 Star Wars theme parks, one in Anaheim, California, and the other in Bay Lake, Florida. The idea behind the parks is to bring to life Star Wars universe. Being able to get into a realistic lightsaber fight with stormtroopers is presumably one step closer to that idea.
That's so awesome.
So there you go. That was this week's News and Rumors.
Sweet.
As always, thank you to those who wanted to stop by and listen to our chit chat and all the news and rumors of this past week. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our mediums that are Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Podbean, and iTunes. On all those mediums, if you could also leave us a review, if I did not say that earlier, we would greatly appreciate it.
There are also links in the description, whether this be iTunes, Podbean, YouTube.
Right.
There are links to all of our stuff in the description.
In the description, there's our email, which you can always send us topic ideas you would like us to review, get into communication with us about just anything in general.
Or a topic you'd like us to tackle. That'd be awesome.
And as always, for everything in the Nerdosphere,
Keep it right here. We'll see you
next time.